That you must teach me. But let me conjure you by the rights of our fellowship, by the constancy of our youth, by the obligation of our ever-preserved love, and by what more dear or better proposer could charge you withal, be even and direct with me, whether you were sent for or no. Nay, then I have an eye of you. If you love me, hold not off. I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen moult no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, foregone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame of the earth seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy of the air, look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire. Why, it seems no other thing to me than a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, and yet, to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Brian Jennings here, the Critical Sorcerer. This channel exists as a method for me to process my relationship with Quentin Tarantino and the movie Critic. Right? This channel exists to tell the public at large the true story of the movie Critic. Right? I'm the reason that Quentin canceled his film, The Movie Critic. There's not another reason. Right? And so, what I'll say about those lines, of course, that's some of the finest lines in Shakespeare's entire canon from Hamlet, telling Rosencrantz and Guildenstern about his depression. And though he in no way alludes to having seen the ghost and having been charged with, right, with rectifying his father's unjust murder, it touches perfectly on the psychology of Hamlet, where he says, oh, I don't know why, but he knows why. Why I feel so full of sorrow, right? And of course, those are Richard Burton's favorite lines, right? Any number of actors' favorite lines from the whole play. Prose lines, not verse. I've always felt that prose was the invitation from Shakespeare to allow the actor to, right, express how he sees the lines in his reading of them. Right? Blank verse is a very specific thing. And as far as verse is concerned, almost 99% of the time, you can disregard the meter. Right? I still stand by that. I always said that, and I think that is true. It's unnecessary scholasticism. It's intellectuals saying, oh, well, it's like critics, like picking apart performances, right? When if you are an actor, right, I think that it's a much healthier disposition as a foundation to say, no, that meter's bullshit. Like, they're not reciting poetry to each other. Like, that's not what's occurring, right? That it's people having conversations. That's what's occurring. There's any number of instances in the Shakespeare canon where they are reciting poetry, right? And I have of late, right, recognized that understanding the meter, ba-bum, 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 will allow you to pronunciate better, right? This is the, what is it? They call it the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your mind, right, is focused on being in the moment, right? And then 20% of your mind is allocated towards the technical expression of the lines, right? Or, like on a film set, the technical knowing of your blocking, like, oh, you move over here, or you don't move over here. Right? And no one does blocking anymore. That's not how people make movies anymore. Right? But there was a time, right? There was a time, right? And I think that that's true for Shakespeare as well. And what led me to that conclusion is learning Cassius from Julius Caesar. That one right at the beginning of the play, where he jumps into the river Tiber, right, chafing at her shores, etc., etc. This is beautiful lines that it's hard to just kind of like disregard, or it's hard to pronounce everything properly. But if you consider that meter and say, okay, this is like the scientific, ba-bum, 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 right? Like that's like the analytical, right? Like if you stick there, like if you rest in that, right? And so that's what I'm saying right now. That the meter can help you if you work the line so much that you can rest in that foundation, right? But now, this video in particular, right, is an accompanying piece, though it's going to go on the channel immediately, to everyone that's involved with this hideous, ugly thing between Quentin and myself, namely William Morris Endeavor, right, and Sony, and to a lesser degree the Tribeca Film Festival, right? And before I go on and on about that, what I'll say is that I've been seeing a lot more activity on the channel, right? A lot more subscribers, and I appreciate that. Hopefully we'll be at 500 soon, and the train's rolling. I do see that. And I appreciate everyone who subscribed, right? And you know, if you leave a comment and you want me to subscribe to your channel, I'm happy to do that if you got something to say, right? Because I appreciate, right? But coming back to my point, that this message is for William Morris Endeavor, right? That I felt compelled to write them another page. That's like what I'll say about it. Right? And the formula's not going to change. We're going to read from the novel. I'm going to sing a song, all these things, right? But yesterday when I was reading from my novel, I had the thought, oh, I should write them again. And I didn't write anything at first. And it's been maybe 24 hours since I had that thought. And what I realized is that this is Quentin's psychic direction. That this is how he gets his jollies without having to actually say anything. Right? And so that makes me not want to write at all. I have no reason to write. Right? The people who watch these videos, you have no idea. But I've written them 100 pages, 100 plus pages. Right? All of it sincere, like in an effort to just resolve this thing. Right? And now, right, and this is to WME, right? It's all threadbare. I see all of it. I see what his tactic was. Right? And I don't know, but I suspect that you told him you need to give him a chance. Right? That you didn't like that you played a fucked up mind game is not his fault. And I appreciate that if it's true. Right? But what I don't appreciate is your blind trust of his bullshit. Right? So, in that way, you and Sony have both cast your allegiances with evil. Right? And so, I'm going to read my letter. Right? Because we're doing everything in the open. Magic's done in the light. Sorcery's done in the dark. Right? Quentin's interested in mystery, bullshit. Right? And I'm interested in sincerity, wisdom. Right? If you know a thing, you can teach a thing. That's the point. Right? So, Here I am, still taking Quentin's bullshit psychic direction. So mysterious. How does he do it? The mere thought of writing your ignorant satanic institution is tedious. How's it going, Mike? Been checking in on me? Been making sure Quentin's been watching me so I don't fucking torture you? How's it feel knowing you cast your allegiances with evil? What's it like representing the Antichrist? Luxurious enslavement? I have no desire to write anyone involved in this evil farce. So this is me telling you, no, definitively. This is the last letter you or anyone else involved will receive from me. Though I will include you and everyone else in my emails to Westboro Baptist every time he degrades his soul by torturing me with high evil. I don't want to go on and on. The video should espouse anything this document might be lacking. And though I will discuss it in front of the camera, allow me to elucidate further the scope of our condition now. I have no choice but to constantly assume, as long as everyone involved refuses to look me in the eye, that someone or anyone or all of the insulating institutions protecting and, dare I say, encouraging his evil will be and are sending assassins to murder me and my entire family as a result of the fact that all involved refuse to acknowledge me or look me in the eye. That, compounded with the stark reality that Quentin is a base degenerate who has no problem practicing high black magic evil on me, compels me to discuss it openly forever. The stakes have never been higher. It's time to pull your heads out of your asses and accept you're helping an evil man do evil upon me. I didn't make him cancel that film. I didn't make him refuse my 2 letters between cancellation and Tribeca. I didn't make him stick his nose up at my letter and turn his back on me at Tribeca. However, you have allowed him free rein, and so I'm calling you all out until we reconcile or until you murder me. Heaven help me. So there it is, 1 page. I'm not going to go on and on. What exactly is the point that I'm striving to make in that letter? Right? My point is that there is this understanding that Quentin and I have. Right? That he ran amok in my mind, him and the cabal of degenerates that surround him, for months. And then, right in the first week of January, I turned it all on him. There's the board. You see it. Right? And so, what I'm saying is that if this becomes money, right? Like if it's just money, if you say, oh, well, okay, right, we respect you enough to know that you'll destroy all of our reputations because we're not actually evil and we won't actually assassinate you. And that's a position. Right? But what I'm saying is that if you do that, right, and you just let me back up a dump truck and you fill it full of money, right, what I'm saying now to you is that for the rest of my life, if there is no true reconciliation, right, if we don't embrace and call each other family, right, if we don't spend time together, he ain't got to make the movie with me. Maybe just like, let me help him edit it or like do some music or something. But we have to spend months together, not days, right? A substantial amount of time, right? If that doesn't occur and he remains aloof in his ivory tower, right, then I have no choice but to assume, right, that he has people, right, underneath him, right, that he supports to watch me remote viewing, right, to remote view me constantly forever. Not like for a week, No. This is, right? Like, this is celestial, right? It doesn't, no. They're not going to just say, oh, okay, well, we don't have to worry about him anymore, right? Because he knows that I can do all the same things that he can do. That's my point. And so what I'm saying right now that is not in that letter, right, is that if you just pay me a bunch of money, right, then I have no choice than to take a small portion of that, right, and build my coven, right? My novel's called Building a Coven, right? And have my small little legion of clairvoyants, right, just like he does, and watch all of you, right? Everyone that's involved. Right? R.A. Emanuel, Mike Simpson, Stacy Scher, right? Right? Roger Avery, right? Like anyone who's close to him. That's what I'm saying. I can keep going, right? And so the board that you see here, right? Like if we take this board as an example, right? And take Ari right there, right? Which has a pentagram over one eye and the square and compass over another eye, right? That I can do this with anyone, right? And pay my legion of clairvoyance just like he does, and watch all of you. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to consider there, right? And this has nothing to do with insanity, right? This has everything to do with logic, right? That he's going to watch me forever because he knows that I'm a threat to him on the psychic frontier. Therefore, I have to watch everyone involved. And anytime he puts any evil on me, I turn it back on all of you. And I write the Pope and write that you all insulate evil. So, that's where we're at, right? And this is why I live in perpetual anxiety that you or him or anyone involved in this fucking debacle is going to send an assassin to my house to murder me and my entire family. There's just nothing graceful about what's occurring here, right? But I didn't make the choice to promote a wife beater to win an Oscar. That's got nothing to do with me, right? That's 5 years before I wrote Quentin Tarantino, isn't it? Right? But now, right, he's played his games, and I see the truth for what it is, right? And since he's going to be evil, no matter what, it behooves me to talk about it in the light of day, forever. So, now we're all caught up, right? That you can cast your allegiances with him and say, no, you handle it however you want, right? We support you. You're the one that made us money. Right? Or you can say, no, this is over. This is over. Right? I don't want to do that. It doesn't interest me to pay people to watch all of you. No. Right? You wanna fucking campaign for a wife beater to win an Oscar for beating up his wife? That ain't got whatever. Show business, so mysterious. Right? But my point is that, right? As long as you all continue to refuse to look me in the eye, right? As long as you continue to say, oh no, well, he's our auteur, right? Like, oh no, we have to trust what this guy's saying, right? I'll have no choice but to assume that you all are co-leagued in evil. And it will never improve. It will never improve. That's my point, right? It's not like, in like a year it'll get better. Like, no, like, I'm off my game if I don't make sure that there's people on you. And what I'm saying is, I'm above money. This ain't got nothing to do with money. Quentin could have been cool when I sued him. When I sued WME. Right? And not fucked with me while I was sorting trash. He thought that it was funnier to traumatize me. And so, right, what I'm saying is that now I'm vigilant forever. Right? That I have no choice. And what a ride. No. He's going to pay people to watch me, right? He's a degenerate, right? This guy that you protect, that you insulate, he's interested in high evil, and he never knew how to do it till he stole it from me, right? Because he's a jackass and understands nothing, right? He sticks feet in his mouth because he has no wisdom, right? He's caught in the lesser mysteries, right? The greater mysteries is love, right? That God expresses its knowing through giving, right? And so the lesser mysteries is the ignorance, right? It's like the question, right? But the greater mysteries is the answer, right? And so you could say, oh, well, he's made us money. Oh, gosh, I guess we need to keep, like, trusting this guy because, like, right? Or you could pull your heads out of your asses and hold him accountable for his disgusting base tactics, right? So I'm going to pick up where I left off with my novel, right? It's a novelization of my experiences with Quentin Tarantino on the psychic frontier, right? It's called Building a Coven. He has at least 2 women, perhaps he has 7 women, right? But he has 2, right? They're his coven, right? And that's where this title comes from, right? That he puts women on men, right? And watches them spread their legs and debase themselves, right? While they close their eyes and see him in the mind's eye, and he says, yeah, I'm fucking you. I'm fucking you. That dick that's inside of you, it's mine. A really savage, base, just weird, right? It's not interesting. Is it true? Is it not true? Right? Did Cliff Booth beat up his wife like Brad Pitt did? Gosh, I don't know. Doesn't matter. That's the point, right? So we're talking about it forever, right? He made the decision to create this pathological, fucked up relationship with me. And so now we're going to talk about it every day. And I'll pick up where I left off, building a coven. I know, Willow says, you're thinking about what a dumb bitch I am. And it's true, we're 2 alike. I gave her the strongest testament of devotion conceivable. And like her father getting me the slow pitch setup, I saw it a mile away. We both ran for the hills. It is better, more legendary. Now, I agree, but it is difficult. The breadth of it all. I'm stuffy, perhaps from cottonmouth. I know my phone will be charged soon. I have to cut through town to get out of it. My emotions are wild. I'm feral. 21 minutes to full charge. Can I write for another 20 minutes? I'll smoke a cig. I know my facial hair is approaching immaculate levels of white trash. My face is itching. I feel it growing. I'm told not to worry. That he is my other father, Clay says, and that Lisa loves me. It feels good to consider, but I am puzzled. I would never conceive of daughters. Have you a daughter? Alistair assures me that I see it. But all I can only say with supreme authority is that love was never a factor in my consideration. Ever. Initially, I mean. I've known Clay has 2 daughters for a while, I guess. Never looked him up. What am I, an asshole? Didn't know about Willow at all, but never would I create such an elaborate hallucination. Never, ever, ever. I would never consider anything of the kind. Weird fantasies, delusions of illustrious in-laws. Am I a catch? Sure, why not? Am I interested in ingratiating myself into my heroes' families? I really must be an asshole if that's the case. A weird, calculating bitch with no heart. Marriage, love, etc. My heart's open, always is, but I know I would not conceive of this, not ever. I awoke behind a dumpster at B&M Metals along Highway 79, cold and dirty, but my shoes were still dry, which improves on yesterday. Walking back towards where I was yesterday, the full moon and Lucifer, the morning star, harbinger of dew, rested just west of high noon in the sky, the other golden hour, though I was late. The sun and moon, per naked eye observations, appeared to be aligned, both rising from the same area of space the last 2 days. I always felt that if you could memorize the celestial locations of the sun and moon, though the sun alone is great work, but if you could hold that knowing, where along the horizon in the sky the sun is at any given time. It is like an accordion from there. You can go backward and forward, extending out to eternity, or collapsing into plasma. The idea is the pinnacle of visualization, surely connected to mysticism, weather predictions, divinations, etc. I remember getting the idea of trying to visualize a particular place at a specific time of day. And as I thought of it, a definite image emerged, though I am amiss as to description. But it had a texture, a hue, a depth. And there, in that space, came this notion of knowing the future on the highest levels of mystery, down to a particular day. It's all there. Awareness, motivation, intention. I cannot say what these words represent in myself, in others. My point being that last night, while thinking so sincerely upon the matter, trying with all of my heart to see the truth, it collapsed in my mind. I could see Alistair was weary, and he knows I'm laser focused. I saw someone, Willow, vomiting. This has been very trying for her, a great abuse. Most unfortunate for that baby. Strain at such a time happens all the time. But this is different. I had mentioned it before, just a couple months. It is fucked up. It is something... No, it can't be true. When I look back on Hazel, I see now it could have been Willow the entire time. It is a concept so alien to me. Pure conspiracy. It is Schadenfreude. I could never conceive of it. But these are the games she plays. A witch indeed. So now I have this understanding that Clay is not involved, actually. That, though I did write the band twice, he, Clay, is in no way in, as it were, on my pilgrimage. The highest expressions of memory fabrication. I see how they did it. It's easy. They only think they have a monopoly. They have conditioned their minds in different directions as I have mine. I don't know what they seek. They cast these shadows of aspiration and thereby confuse you. I know that I've cultivated these relationships with people by writing them. They all wrote Alistair because they wanted to help. I'm drowning. I don't know where to go now. Logic tells me my father lives in Newmarket. Serenity, the winter. I stay there. Right. Tight. If I could get there in the next week, I could have something by February or March. But New York, the city without Hamlet, seems risky. Unnecessarily so. If he'll let me stay there, and I know he will. It all seems so wicked and cruel. Alistair apologizing for not involving Clay, but that this thing with his daughter is so fucked up and true, I agree. It does not get any more fucked up than this. Occult terrorism on the part of Willow, devoid of meaning, pure intrigue. It infuriates me. I'm told not to worry. It's just a couple months, and that no matter what these other writers these other writers are all my spiritual fathers, and Clem did write, and Clay loves me. I realize I have to write them again, though I don't know how to phrase it. Yeah, I'll do that soon. I know, too, I'll have to address Hazel. I think she does care and is worried, as am I, but I'm thinking. Maybe he would pick me up, my biological father. What a mess. You're a writer, I'm told, and that it's just a few months. An older black woman driving a minivan offered me a $5, gave me a hug and said, God bless you, baby. When honest, it never fails to yield. The sun is higher. More activity, churchgoers, I imagine. A quiet town, little crime. Some drug problems, I'm sure. But all honest encounters with Southern hospitality, even if masturbatory or self-affirming in their hearts. The woman working the counter at the gas station I have been charging my phone at the last 2 days came out and greeted me, offering her advice on where I might use my food stamps. All the women are dogs, so far. When I think on the confusion, the elaborate nature of it all, I am struck by its design. I know that I have to keep writing until I land somewhere, but it feels this major third, is spiraling down, and once wound up all the way. The map says I can walk to Milan in 4.5 hours, but now it seems they want me to call my father, to which Elias just says, I don't know, maybe if it allows you the serenity to write. And I know you can write anywhere, but in a few months you send it to me and we go to work. It makes sense, but in relation to his daughter, I don't know. I'm thinking about my letter to Clay. I'll write them. Asking for a pen from the same cashier was needed, and she obliged. I wrote 1 page to the band. It is quite graceful, saying so much on 1 page. I walked all the way to Walmart and forgot to fill up my water bottles, only recognizing it now that I've come back to the gas station I was at this morning and yesterday afternoon. I suppose I'll have to walk back, but for now I have enough, and so I'll rest. Cloudy day, a perfect metaphor for my soul. I see the light, but not clearly. I'll send an email to my father. I tried texting. It appears to be a landline. I'd rather not call. I tried emailing him. I guess I'll write later. She's on my mind. The density of it all. Shaping a sizable portion of my life's memory. Betrayal. Of which I am assured there is no more of. We had this connection. We are as thick as thieves. I don't know what she fears beyond me. I gave her cause, and I've shown she need not be, as long as she's motivated by the right things. I think my sincerity bewilders her. She's been playing her games too long, to be sure. Her every step in this direction distances her from beauty. I know that it is all but impossible, as far as the heart is concerned, to top my testaments of devotion. Maybe matched, but no, I doubt that. And for her to take this step, neck deep now in bullshit heresy, instead of see me a single time, it is damaging across all spectrums. She too has expended enormous resources. Her innocence is gone as well. Chaos. Thoughts wild like a tornado, like a Lilith. Demolishing all good, all beauty, all truth. Nothing seems as it should be. I don't know how to feel. Belonging has never been a characteristic quality of wizards. Fuck! I suppose now I have to write my father. I don't want to call him. I can write, and he can call if he wants. I wrote the letter and proofread. I know it will not get any better. I have been writing a lot. 3 hours already, including both letters, each 1 full page. I also emailed Hazel. I think she read it. She forgives me. I'll need to get to water soon. I know I can go there and back in maybe an hour and a half. Pain, grief, exhaustion, debilitating aches. I feel lost, don't know east from west. I'll put the pen down for now. Maybe an hour and a half or 2 has passed. Seated now where I was, I walked back to Walmart to fill my water bottles. Took my last dose of Kratom for the day 10 minutes ago. Chugged a tall boy twisted tea, and will smoke the last of my marijuana at my leisure. The sun descends. My leg is on fire from my shoes being too small. The glare of halogen from above illuminates the page. I know Alistair and his family all tire of hovering over me. While walking back, I got the feeling everyone was worried about me. Clem, Niche, all of them. We've all pushed ourselves past the bounds of reason into magnetic strata of thought, unparalleled, yet at a cost, to be sure, the depth of which would take the remainder of all our lives to reveal in full. I'll stop there. So, it's a novelization of my experiences with Quentin Tarantino on the psychic frontier, right? The pages that you hear me reading, right, is the pinnacle of the Rhapsody, right? Where he shuffled me out of town, all bullshit, right? All bullshit. Under the delusion that Transstasia that I wrote in an effort to help us reconcile, I wrote the band Fish to help us reconcile, right? Was interested in helping me play Hamlet with his daughter Eliza to play Ophelia, right? Why the daughters? I don't know. I guess the only logical reason, right, is so that he could say, oh, look how insane he is. My daughter's a sweet little girl. And now, right, she's dirty, right? Her magnetic aura is dirty. That he's compounded a bunch of lies upon her, right? But it was just revealed in these pages, right? That Trey there's nothing involved with Trey, or it's all bullshit. Ha 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 ha. Fuck you, right? That he feels hurt, right? But he did it to himself. That's what I have to say about it, right? That I wrote him twice between the time he canceled the film and Tribeca, right? And if you wanted something certain, right? Oh gosh, he was supposed to read between the lines. Right? Okay, sure. And he was supposed to take my letter. Right? He's not better than me. Money doesn't mean he's better than me. Right? He wanted to play the magic game. Like, that's the game that he wanted to play. I wrote him as soon as he canceled the film. And yeah, true, it was an acidic letter full of bile. Right? But now, we're gone. Right? We're both gone. And he's laughing his ass off, right? He don't give a fuck about me. He's paying people to watch me and torture me, right? While he makes the movie Critic with my intellectual property. Right? So, we're talking about it. Right? That's the point. This novel, this was like pushing into winter of last year. Right? That was like between Halloween and Thanksgiving. Right? That he pushed me out of LA. Right? And like, what the fuck does he care? Like, honestly, if he doesn't, like, so what? There's a guy on the street in LA. Right? Oh, so you got 5% of a heart. Is that? Right? And that's not true. That's not true. Because he stole my wisdom, right? And now he's descended into palpable black magic evil. And anyone who's interested in understanding that point that I made just there, they can watch my video, A Plea to the Pope, that I sent to the Holy Father in Rome. Right? That fucking William Morrison never knows about. Right? And so I suspect that everyone around him, right? Like if there's two schools here, right? Perhaps they're all saying it's time to reconcile. It's time to pull your head out of your ass. And then the other side of it is, well, better him than me. I expect you to watch that man forever because he'll fucking torture any of us. I don't want to torture people. I'm not an asshole. I'm not interested in psychic voyeurism. Right? That's sick. Right? Like, oh, he thinks these things are cool? Like, they're not cool. Right? And so what do I mean? I mean that space is aligned in a particular way. Right? There is a conscious field permeating all of space, every cubic centimeter, evenly distributed in terms of volumetric pressure. Commonly referred to as God or deity, right? The conscious field, right? Embedded within that, right, is an infinite complex of nested polyhedra, right? This is one example, right? Compound of 40 tetrahedra, right? And there's a myriad of examples behind you, right? And so when the divine Zephyr, right, the celestial Zephyr, breathes, pushes into the, right, subatomic structural manifold, right? It exerts pressure upon it and engenders collapse, right? And after it collapses for a time, it becomes this geometry that's in the center, which is known as the vector equilibrium, right? And then eventually, as it's collapsing, right, it is engendering friction against itself, right? Because a small volume is becoming a large volume, or a large volume is becoming a small volume. Right? That all of the structural components of here are being pushed there to the geometric center. Right? And so eventually, all of this electric resistance becomes so great that it can no longer remain in inert space and erupts into incandescence as matter, as physical matter. First photons of light and chemical elements, atmospheric strata, mineral, vegetable, animal, man. Right? And so I invite you to look into the works of Walter Russell if you'd like to learn more about this. Right? But this is not my idea, but this is the philosophy of Platonic forms, that all things reside in the realm of idea. And so if mind, right, if the divine light of God exists within and around all of this and exerts a pressure upon it, the specific angle or angels with which it exerts its pressure reflects what it materializes and manifests as physical matter in the material world. Right? that's like how it's done, right? That's nothing else has ever been occurring, right? And so, right, at the top of the evolutionary food chain, right, on a metaphysical level, right, on a spiritual level, is man, right? And so man, right, expresses his knowing through thinking, just like God does, right? And so the highest levels of said expression, that we call these people adepts, right? So Joseph Campbell teaches us, right, that the Kundalini, that those symbols, right, that there's psychological notions in the mind of man. And the Kundalini awakening is the raising of your psychological understanding out of your root, out of your base terrestrial nature, into the divinity of your mind, right? And so he says that it's a doubling back, right? That you go 1, 2, 3, then you go back to 2 to 4, back to 3 to 5, right? Back to 4 to 6, right? Back to 5 to 7, right? And so in that way, right? This is metaphored in our expressions of our thoughts by the fact that the notion itself derives from the brain but is expressed below through the mouth and the vocal cords, right? And so the highest expressions of the adept meditating on God and the divinity, which is everywhere, right, sees the adept behaving like God. All instances of psychic phenomenon, right, clairvoyance, telepathy, psychokinesis, thaumaturgy, is the mind of the adept tapping into the non-local conscious field which resides in all of space. Quentin Tarantino is a powerful psychic clairvoyant who spends his time remote viewing and occupying the minds of the actor and actresses in his films, right? So, I'm going to sing a song. I don't really know what else to say, but I love you all. I live in perpetual fear, right? That one of these corporate establishments is going to say, well, right, like this is the guy that we saddled up to, so I guess we got to murder this guy because he's just one guy, right? Getting better all the time. I used to get mad in my school. The teachers who taught me were cool. You're holding me down, turning me around, building me up with your rules. I got to admit, it's getting better, a little better, all the time. Yes, I admit, it's getting better, so better, since you've been mine. I used to be angry man, was hiding my head in the sand. You gave me the word, I finally heard, and I'm doing the best that I can. I got to admit, it's getting better, a little better, all the time. Yes, I admit, it's getting better, so better, since you've been mine. Yeah, it's so much better all the time. It's getting better all the time. I used to be cruel to my woman, I beat her and kept her apart from the things that she loved. Man, I was mean, but I'm changing my scene, and I'm doing the best that I can. I got to admit, it's getting better, a little better, all the time. Yes, I admit, it's getting better, so better, since you've been mine. Yeah, it's so much better all the time. So what's good in your life? Know that life is not an accident. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share. God bless.